Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I'm in the laboratory here in Southwest Florida, and what I want to do is give you a quick update on what's going on in here. The orchids, my orchids are just growing like crazy. They're inside and outside. These are the inside ones, and I just want to show you some of these flasks. They're just, and I always show the bottom and the roots because this is where, this is the indicator of how these guys are doing. But these are just doing, look at, these are two different flasks. These are just doing so well. Look at this. The roots are growing like crazy in these things. Plants are growing really exceptionally well. I got to keep things organized here, and I'm having just a wonderful time trying to keep up. One of the things that I talked with one of my colleagues about today is how to keep up organizationally. I have all of the the seeds when I plant them. They're in a spreadsheet, so the crosses that I make, when the crosses were made, it's all in a spreadsheet. When it's placed on the germination medium, the replate medium, all this stuff. What I'm struggling with is how to keep things organized in the laboratory here. I try to keep seedlings or seeds over here, and then when they get a little further, I move them on plates over there, and then when they get the bigger containers, I move them over here. But I've got so many things going on, I don't know how to keep things organized so that I can come in and see what needs to be done immediately without looking at all the different plates. And I'm starting to get a lot of plates from the hybrids that I'm making, but also with the breeding group that I'm associated with. People are just passing me seed capsules quite often, and I'm getting them in the dishes, which is right here. But then keeping track of all of these is a little more than I know how to handle. So if you have any ideas on how to do this other than just setting up an Excel sheet, which I already have that has everything in there, just kind of let me know, and I'd be happy to listen to your suggestions. And again, I'm more concerned about how to keep things organized in the lab, whether I should do color coding or dates, or how the flow should be in here. Anyway, that's that. I'm dealing with it. I'm fine, but it takes me like an hour, maybe a couple hours, just to come in and see what needs to be done. So I'd like to shorten that and have a better idea of things, other than working many more days per week in the laboratory. Okay, what I want to talk with you about today, just really quickly, I've got some kind of exciting results to share with you, and progress with some of the Florida natives that I'm working on. And I've shared some of these with you in the past. The Oncidium Saturn, the last time I did a pollination video, I've got some capsules forming from some selfs, some crosses within that same species, but I've also got wider hybrids, so I've got a lot of seeds from Oncidium Saturn and from the various hybrids that I'm making, and I've got a lot of plants in the laboratory here too. So this is a Florida native, and these are actually two flasks from local populations of Oncidium Saturn. But I got a lot of these. I've got a lot of flasks, big flasks. I've got a lot of seeds in dishes. I've got just a lot. I don't know if you can see what's going on in there, but I've got a lot of seed and seed capsules of Oncidium Saturn, and it's a really common Florida native. It's flowering now. Again, I did a video on crosses with that, and a lot of this Florida native that's around in my laboratory. Some of the other ones that I want to share with you, and I've shared this with you I think previously as well. So this is these are Certapodium punctanums, and these are again Florida natives, and this is from a native population here in Southwest Florida. So these things are doing well, and I got to show you this if you can see it. I better put both these up, but you can see in this one you can see the roots, and it's just like a solid mass of roots on the bottom. The other one's the same way, you just can't see them as well. This one also is a solid mass of roots, but these things are growing, you know, really well. I've got a lot of these, and the plants get big. I've showed you some Certapodium natives. I've visited some of those in some of the local parks. These plants get big. I don't have any in my collection right now, but I think I have around 30 of them that I deflasked that I think I got to take home. I got another 30 that are in the laboratory that'll be ready in a week or two that I need to find homes for. But again, these can go in these native areas. They are either the Certapodium punctanum are either terrestrials or just a little bit above the soil in trees or in you know, in the crotch in a real moist, rich area of the tree. That's where they'll do well. So Certapodium punctanum, another Florida native that I've grown in the past, and it does really well. Here's another. I've got another Florida native here, and I haven't taken. I'm not sure if I've taken these things out of flasks yet, but this is Oncidium Saturn, and this is again another Florida native in the Oncidium family that is doing really well in flasks. I didn't move these into here that long ago. They were just in smaller containers, but they're taking off, and they're going to load up these containers really quickly. I have other Oncidiums in my collection. I'm not sure I want the native. I might try one, but you know, each one of these containers contains 25. I've got more in the laboratory here on the bench. But I just wanted to share with you, you know, a lot of these natives are pretty, well, orchids in flasks in many cases are pretty easy to grow, and they tend to do well on the medium that I've developed, and I'm just again trying to take them out of the flask. These are going to be in here probably for about another month, so I'll take them out of the flasks, and I assume that they're going to acclimate okay and do well. And then there's a question of finding a home for these guys, which in the local orchid community is not that hard to do. Okay, let's move on to a couple more, a little bit more of an unusual Florida native orchids. So I have in here and in here, and there are not too many of them. These are, and I don't know if you can see the little blobs that are in there, because there is not much going on that you can see, and the containers are cloudy. So these are some ghost orchids, and I was able to get access to a ghost orchid capsule that didn't look really good, and I extracted all the seeds out of this out of this ghost orchid capsule, and I got a few plants. And so what I'm doing right now is, and the plants are in here are pretty nondescript. So I mean, all that I can see in here are some, you know, roots, which is what they are, and they're small, so they're just starting to grow. And I just put them in these containers. Look at my calendar, less than 3 weeks ago. But the roots will grow. My medium tends to really support, as you saw, roots of orchids grow really well in it. They haven't grown down into it. They're a little bit slow, but they're growing and they're doing well. What I did, because I don't have that many of them, is that I put very few of them in individual containers, and this is what I'm going to try to do, is maintain like one plant in a container and have it grow a little bit and have it get big. But then what I'm also looking for, and what I want to do with these things, because I don't have that many of them and I don't know when I'm going to get access to my next seed capsule, is I'm trying to proliferate these plants. And so they'll do that a little bit spontaneously, but they can also do that maybe when you add some medium components or change up the composition of the medium. You can induce proliferation rather than just development of the plants that are in here. But I've got a few of these containers, and this is Ghost Orchid, which has, you know, really an incredible reputation. I think I know how to grow them. This is my first foray into Ghost Orchid, and they seem to be doing pretty well. I did lose a lot from contamination, but my starting capsule was dried. It was on a plant that was outside. It was dried up. It had split, and most of the contents had already been spent wherever. And so what I got was the dried up split seed capsule, and I was surprised to get anything out of it. So I got a few plants. So I'm limited with what I have here. Okay, so this is again the ghost orchid. I've got a few of these. I'm kind of excited about that. I don't want them for myself, but I'm excited for my colleagues and the people the person that provided the seed capsule to me. He apologized. It's a little late, but it's okay. He'll actually get a lot of plants back, and he wants some for proliferation, and I think I know how to grow them. I have a colleague that's worked a lot with ghost orchid at the University of Florida, and I've talked to him about how to do this, and he gave me the tricks. And for someone who's been doing this as long as he and I have been doing this, I think this is going to be relatively straightforward. Okay, moving on. The last one that I have for you is it's another terrestrial, and this is the rarest orchid that I have in the laboratory, and it's an orchid again that I'm not truly interested in myself. I just want to make more plants, provide it to my colleague that provided these to me, and this is Habenaria distans that's listed as a Florida native, and it's endangered. It's only been found in I think 3 counties in Southwest Florida, and for a few years it wasn't reported at all. But I have a colleague that stumbled across these in a location and had a permit and was able to collect some seed and provided me with a tiny amount of seed that I placed in here. I'm looking actually a few months ago. So these guys were really slow, and it was a type of thing that he gave it to me on, inside a plastic microcentrifuge tube, and all of the embryos and all the seeds were in there stuck to the wall. So I had to get it out, and I had to plate them out, and I was picking up individual seeds that contained embryos and moving around under the right conditions. I tried light grown and dark grown, just because terrestrials are supposed to do better in the in the dark. And I've got at this point these guys are slow. They're really, really slow. And I contacted a Habenaria flasker who told me just be patient, and it'll come. So Marnie, thanks for that advice. And they did come, and they are coming. So, but the dish in the dark, there's a lot more rhizoid, root type structures that are forming from the protocorms than the seeds and the embryos that I placed in the light. But the ones in the light are forming green leaves already. So the ones in the dark, it looks like more of them are starting to germinate, but the ones in the light, it looks like they're developmentally more advanced. So I'm pretty excited, not about this orchid specifically, but that I was able to successfully culture and flask what appears to be a really rare Florida orchid. And this is part of what I like to do, is take these things that are the numbers are low, and that's what I can do in here is I can get this is a plate that's just filled with orchid seedlings, but I can do this with not all of them. Some of them haven't been working very well. Here's another flask, another petri dish from across, and I don't know if there's only 2 protocorms forming in here, but these are weird crosses. The selves tend to get you tend to get higher numbers. So anyway, I can do this with many of the orchids. I can generate large numbers and then use these to repopulate areas where the orchid numbers are low, and that's kind of like what I like to do, and that's what I appreciate doing and assisting in the local orchid community with that. So yay for this guy, and I hope that you found today's video a little entertaining and a little useful. That's all I have for today. If you like my video and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you could click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. Okay, again, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.